Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
A mother from Knott County dies after giving birth. Morgan Hall died from complications related to HELLP syndrome. It's a rare pregnancy complication that impacts less than 20,000 people a year. Her son was born. He's at UK Hospital right now. And since Hall's death, many in the region have come together to raise money for the family. WYMT's Connor James has more.
Love has a way of being eternalized in a moment, a memory, a picture. What better example than this photo? Morgan Hall and her husband Jordan sharing just a glimpse of their eternal love with the world. The thing about love, it's a force that can move mountains.
1955 in 2 days.
Kenzie Moon knows that all too well. She walked the halls of Knott Central with Morgan. She'll go on to say they were really never close friends, but that didn't stop her from helping during this time of heartbreak.
I only did the 3 spots. Like I did $5 for 1, 2 for 10, 3 for 15, and people are sending 50, 100.
You see, Kenzie's a photographer. She posted on Facebook that she'd be doing a raffle of sorts for a free shoot. All the proceeds would go to Morgan's family for her funeral expenses.
That's the Hyman Funeral Home.
Kenzie's goal was $2,000. In 48 hours, she's passed that, a testament to small towns.
It's like this, everybody knows everybody, you know.
All the additional money is going to Morgan's husband, who's keeping a watchful eye over their newborn son, Noah, who's still at UK.
And they said he's doing good, but it's untelling how long he'd still be there.
We often will never know why things like this happen. A mother, a wife, gone long before she should have. But it's the moments when our love exceeds a moment.
It's sad, but that's when people seem to come together most, is when tragedies like this happen.
Now that's when we really understand what love is. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
There is a celebration of life service for Morgan Hall at Hyman Funeral Services tomorrow from 5 until 9 p.m. Tonight we've learned a Hazard woman murdered Sunday actually died from being stabbed. Investigators say this man, Anthony Lewis, killed Marlena Holland. He is now behind bars. The two met at the Hope House, a homeless shelter downtown. Since then, many of you have reached out to us with some concerns. Some questioning the vetting process at the shelter, others concerned about the number of homeless people we have across eastern Kentucky. Today, Hazard City officials told us they acknowledge the homelessness problem, and groups and centers are working together to find a solution. We are working on a more in-depth story to discuss these issues and hope to have more later in the week. A Southern Kentucky judge has agreed there is enough evidence for a grand jury to hear in the case of a man accused in his girlfriend's murder. Nicholas Rucker was on the run for 45 days after police say he shot and killed his girlfriend. Today in court, witnesses talked about how Rucker claimed the victim shot herself, but police say the evidence points to murder. WIT's Phil Pendleton has more on what was said in court.
Nicholas Rucker and his girlfriend lived with Roger Witt at his Woodbine home for several weeks, with Witt recalling the chilling statement he said Rucker once said on how others made him feel.
I think he said that he could get mad enough to where he could kill someone, but I didn't take it literally.
But on May 22nd, police say Rucker did kill someone, his girlfriend, Vicki Connor. It came more than 20 years after he was convicted in his own infant son's death. But this time, police say Rucker left this crime scene claiming that it was a suicide.
Mr. Rucker, as he left, had made some statements that she had shot herself, Some other witnesses that were there immediately went to the back bedroom and saw Miss Burke laying in the ground.
Police said she died of a gunshot wound to the front of the head and could tell the gunshot came at close proximity, but that the gun was still likely held a few inches away when it was fired. The testimony was enough to send the case to a grand jury.
Relieved. We know that it's now going to go to the grand jury, and there was enough to send it on. So it's the start of a very lengthy process that will hopefully end with justice for her.
Rucker remains in jail on a $1 million bond. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The Whitley County Grand Jury is expected to take up Rucker's case in early August. If not, he's back up for review in district court August 19th. A visitation for Savannah Spurlock started at 5 o'clock at Oldham Roberts and Powell Funeral Home in Richmond. Spurlock's remains were found last week after she was missing for 6 months. Instead of flowers, the family is asking for donations to the Aware Foundation or Lost and Missing Incorporated. They're also asking people not to discuss any details about the case. Spurlock is survived by her parents, sister, and 4 sons. The visitation will run until 9 o'clock tonight. Kentucky State Police are looking for a man who they believe is dangerous. They say this man, 37-year-old Charles Ray Blevins, shot and killed 44-year-old Adrian Smith earlier this month in Pike County. WYMT's Marianne Fletcher has the latest.
A city park is usually a safe place for families.
He was laying between the second and third posts back this way.
Since the shooting, the mini park in South Williamson has remained empty.
And there was a girl out there circling around, screaming and hollering, "Oh, he's killed, he's dead, he's dead."
Lonnie Ellis has lived near the park for 12 years.
There's traffic out there till 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
State police now believe this man, 37-year-old Charles Ray Blevins, is the man who shot Smith.
The warrant is for murder and possession of a handgun by a convicted felon.
State Trooper William Petrie says Blevins should be considered dangerous.
Well, if someone has already committed this act, they may be willing to hurt someone else to get free.
Plus, he may still have the gun used in the shooting.
As far as we know, he still had it when he left the scene.
Now, Ellis says he is worried to sit outside.
I'm getting scared here.
In Pike County, Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
If you have any information on the whereabouts of Charles Blevins, you can call Kentucky State Police Post 9 at 606-433-7711. Today, we learned the name of yet another Eastern Kentucky native killed during the Pearl Harbor attack in 1941. This is Navy fireman First Class Billy J. Johnson. He was only 22 when Japanese kamikaze pilots sunk the USS Oklahoma in Pearl Harbor. 428 other men and women died on that ship. Johnson was from Caney. He will be buried next month in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Well, I've seen a few clouds, a few scattered rain chances today, but really that main story has been that heat and humidity. As we go ahead and take a look up at Interstate 64 and you're in Moorhead, you got a little bit of a break from that heat today. So you saw a few showers and storms, but I'm sure now after those showers and storms, definitely feeling a little bit muggier up there. But over and outside our front porch here in Hazard, we're only dealing with a few clouds, mostly sunny skies. Definitely hot and humid here in the mountains. You'll notice satellite and radar. We've had a few of those pop-up showers and storms, mainly out to the west. A few of those counties got those, like I said. You're probably pretty thankful for them just because they did cool you off a little bit this afternoon. But as we scan the skies now, we're seeing most of those die down. We're seeing that one Laurel County moving into parts of Jackson County now, maybe even a light shower moving into parts of Wolf, even up a little bit into Morgan County. Temperatures upper 80s, lower 90s, so still very hot and humid outside, but you'll see Moorhead near 82 degrees, a little bit cooler with the rain, and even an 82 looking down to our friends in Wise. So a little bit of a break from the heat for them, but definitely feeling like those lower 90s outside for really all of us in the mountains, feeling like 83 in Wise, so definitely feeling a little bit more on the comfortable side, but very hot, very, very humid. Now we get a little bit of a break tomorrow as more rain arrives, but that heat humidity returns quickly. We're going to see highs near 90, which means those feels like temperatures could be in the mid to upper 90s to maybe even near 100. But we'll talk about more of those rain chances coming up in just a few short minutes. Steve.
All right, Paige, thank you. Black Jewel miners say they are still waiting for answers and their paychecks after the company declared bankruptcy earlier this month and withdrew paychecks from the employees' bank accounts. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talks to one miner who is also battling health issues during the Black Jewel financial crisis.
Tony and Brandon Saylor are brothers that spent their days in the coal business until the Black Jewel bankruptcy.
We're coal miners. That's what we do for a living. That's about all they are to do around here.
Tony started having dizziness while on the job.
Sometimes with him it's hard to tell if he's being honest and playing, you know. But this time of year he wasn't playing.
On June 27th, Tony saw a doctor who found a large mass on his brain.
7.7 millimeters.
Tony was paid on the 28th. And even though doctors wanted to do surgery immediately, he wanted time with his family and friends.
We went out back to Lexington on the 3rd and get a scan on it, and that's when my bank account and all that cleared up.
As of Friday, Tony is now 2 pay periods behind. Now he is in limbo, awaiting results from his surgery he had on the 11th and answers from Black Jewel about his job. Trying his best to keep his spirits high, he says he is thankful he is already doing far better than what doctors expected.
One day at a time, that's all we can deal with. Everybody has to get along good and everybody gets along.
Tony Saylor goes back to the doctor on the 24th of this month to find out whether or not the part of the tumor they were able to remove was malignant. In Harlan County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
Brandon says he does not know if his insurance with Black Jewel will pay for medical bills, and his biggest concern is not his health, but all his fellow coal miners also dealing with financial issues. Meanwhile, officials with another coal company told their lenders they intend to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Blackhawk officials say restructuring will allow them to eliminate debt. The company has 10 mining companies and mines metallurgical coal, which is used in the steelmaking process. Blackhawk says the bankruptcy process should not cause any disruptions to the company's 2,800 employees or customers. Governor Matt Bevin called for a special session earlier this week, and legislators will address a pension contribution rate that earlier this month jumped from 49% to 84%. The rate affects quasi-governmental agencies, including regional universities, health departments, domestic violence shelters, and community health centers. Governor Bevin released a plan earlier this year to address the concern, while Democrats released a plan just last week. Legislators from both sides believe there will be a bill to pass, but differ on how the outcome looks.
I'm confident that there'll be a resolve, and I say that because I know the votes are in the Senate to resolve the issue, and I don't believe that they would call us in on Friday if they didn't have a commitment from the House to have enough votes there to pass it.
The majority intends to pass the bill. I don't think that's the solution. I think that the bill does a lot more harm than good. And so when you ask me, is there going to be a solution? No.
This is the third special session Governor Bevin has called. It begins Friday at 8 a.m.
And rain chances look to arrive tomorrow as the remnants of Barry arrive. Looks like we get a little bit of a break. More rain's expected as we head into later in the weekend. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
And the man who spotted a missing Pulaski County man tells us he believes God used him for a miracle. That story next.